Okay, so I'm so glad that you guys are here tonight on the Beyond Blessed community call, and I am really excited because we're going to get to hear from Allie Kintz, and she joined Plexus almost 6 years ago, and I joined right after she did. And she lives in Central Oregon, has 2 boys, a great husband, Jason, and she is a Sapphire Ambassador. And you guys, she has been on the top 20 list at least twice. Is it 2 times or more in the last month or so?
Oh, twice in the last month, but like before that, a couple times.
Multiple times, but twice recently. And so I know that we have so much we can learn from her, and I am very excited for her to share her tips with us about how she shares Plexus with people and her duplication process and how her team is growing. And so I'm just going to turn it over to her and let her share with us tonight. So thanks, Allie, for being here.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited to see all your faces. A lot of you guys I know, which is fun. And hopefully what I'm sharing with you isn't too repetitive if I've shared this with you before. I know sometimes it's good to have a refresher, or if you're newer, this will be helpful in maybe navigating some new activities for you or some things to dig into. One of the huge reasons why I think our team is really working like a well-oiled machine right now is because we've got a great system in place. And if you know me at all, you know I love systems. I love checklists. I love processes. I love things that take the human error out of the equation, that allow us to do activities that we know are going to produce results. And that's how I've kind of guided my team. And it's taken, 6 years to get to this point. But I kind of had formed some of these things really early on in Plexus. I mean, in less than 2 years, I went Emerald, and we had a lot of leaders, chugging away. And basically to build a Sapphire team, you're doubling your Emerald team. I mean, it's 1,500 points to go Emerald. It's 3,000 to go Sapphire. So you're basically creating new leaders and creating new legs and creating a whole new team to get to the next level once you get to that jewel tier. And it takes a lot of systematic, organized work, because you can try to go out there and sponsor everybody yourself, but it's not going to be very easy and you're going to feel burnt out. So the way to do it is to create a duplicatable system for yourself and for your team, where you can teach people, and it can be more or less sort of hands-off because it takes the guesswork out of it and the human error out of the process. So I'll kind of start with the way I find people, connect with people, introduce them to Plexus, because when I first started, I had my immediate network. I had friends, I had family, I had a warm market. But as a lot of you might know, if you've already come to this point, if you're brand new, then you're not there yet, but you get to the point where everybody is kind of a cold contact and they're not super warm or even hot anymore. I ran through my entire friends list and I added friends of friends, and every kind of acquaintance I ever had in my life, I had gone through those people. And so now my bread and butter is really Facebook interest groups. I have gotten very specific with who my ideal customer is. So you have to think about who you will relate to, who your content relates to, who has the same interests as you, who might have the same belief system, family structure, possibly the same geographic location, and kind of pinpoint who the person is that you are trying to reach with your personal and Plexus posts. It's probably somebody who looked exactly like you a few years ago before you found Plexus. That's probably who your ideal market is. For me, I'm a mom to 2 little boys. And so young moms or moms with little kiddos are my prime market because they directly relate to my content. That's not everybody. I have fitness enthusiasts on my team. I have, young and old on my team. We have men on our team. I mean, it's whatever is your jam, hone in on that. And you want to be speaking to those people. I'm not talking to middle-aged CrossFitting men. That's not who my content is for. Okay. And I know that. And so I'm not friending those people on Facebook. I'm not reaching out to them. They're not the people that I'm creating content for. And a little kind of piece of that is know that your content your Plexus content and your personal content is not for everybody. Okay. So it's okay if your great Aunt Sally doesn't love Plexus the way you do, because that might not be who you're marketing to. Right. It's okay that like the babysitter girl down the street doesn't care about Plexus, because it might not be who you're talking to. Okay. Just like I can't get my dad to stay on the products for the life of me. Well, guess what? My dad's not my ideal customer. I have a team full of young moms because that's what I've created. So just remember that with your content. But I now, since I've gone through all my warm market, I really am speaking to people that are complete strangers on the internet now, but I find them through interest groups that I become a part of according to my own interests. So or my hobbies. I love cooking. I love traveling with my kids. I have 2 little boys. I live in Central Oregon. I am an Oregon State University alumni. There's lots of things that I can think about where I can meet people that will relate to content in my life. So think about, 5 areas of your life, whether it's a hobby, maybe you like gardening, maybe you have a certain kind of dog, maybe you love cooking like I do. I don't know, whatever, right? Whatever the thing is, join some interest groups surrounding that. And you'll quickly start to see that there's going to be some people in there that are totally your cup of tea, that you guys would be friends in real life. And there's also some people that maybe you won't. That's fine. But I start to kind of watch and engage in those groups and see who's doing the posting, who's responding to the posts, who's doing a lot of commenting. Should I be engaging with these people? Are these people individuals that would be relating to my content? If so, I get really active in there. I am answering posts. I'm posting in there. I'm answering questions. I'm replying to people, and I'm just making connections, right? And I also love to, once I've kind of done that a little bit and got a feel for the group, I ask a question in there. And I've started doing this. I'm in about 4 or 5 interest groups that I really love. I do this about once a week. I'm in there I actually have a reminder on my phone. If you know me, I have a million phone reminders, but it helps. We need to be reminded of things. Every Monday it goes off and I ask a question in an interest group every Monday. That's just how I roll. And I ask a question in there, and everybody will respond and stuff. And I reply to every single response in there. Now, if it's somebody who I feel I want to make a connection with, because maybe they're also a young mom of little boys, that happens a lot. I'm literally in a boy moms group, Facebook group. So I get a lot of potentials that way because they directly relate to my content. We'll have a little conversation in the replies. And if there's someone who is active and friendly and open to sharing with me and answering my questions, I will send them a friend request. And most of them accept because we've had some sort of conversation. They've seen me active in the group. Either I've been active on their old questions they've asked in the group or on their other replies, or we've had a conversation in the replies. Sometimes we'll privately message each other things. If we're asking specific questions, maybe we'll share privately, which is a great way to connect with people. And then I send them a friend request from there. And then I never talked about Plexus inside the group. I never asked them about Plexus on there. I just have created a new relationship opportunity on my newsfeed, in my social media. And once they're my friend, there's an opportunity there for them to start seeing my content, right? So I never present Plexus inside of a group. I think that is a common misconception when people talk about meeting people or meeting Plexus potentials inside of Facebook interest groups. I never talk about Plexus inside of the group. And a lot of times that's not allowed. They will kick you out of a group if you're trying to sell something to people or whatever. I just go there to meet valuable connections with people that are my ideal customer. So pick a couple groups, join them, get active, ask questions, reply to all the comments, and really start to connect with people. So once they are, on my friends list, essentially, I actually, another system of mine, I've taught my team to use paper planners because we love a paper planner system. Here's mine. It's super busy, full of people's names. I keep it on my desk. On weekends, I engage with my potentials. And potentials are anybody who hasn't already joined my Plexus team. That's what I do on the weekends. It works for me. If it doesn't work for you, you can add it into your daily IPAs or whatever you want to do. I like to do a Saturday, Sunday. I'm usually busy with my family, but before I get busy with my family in the daytime, I usually wake up in the morning and I'll engage with like 15 people on Saturday and like 15 people on Sunday. I have a whole list because once they accepted my friend request, I add them. Like next Saturday, I'll write their name in to go engage with them. Okay, so what does engagement mean? I will go to their Facebook or Instagram profile, depending on whatever you're on, usually their Facebook profile. I will look at maybe some of their most recent posts or something. If it's not like 6 months ago, if it's like this past few days, I'll leave them a valuable comment or ask their advice on something or give them a genuine compliment or something that will hopefully elicit a response and provide connection and show them that their content is valuable to me, right? So you want to give them that kind of, what is it called? Like that hit of like that dopamine hit when they see a notification. How do you feel when someone comments on your post? You're like, yeah, I got a comment, right? Give that high to someone else. Okay. First thing. Second thing, if you can start like a conversation about whatever the content is, even better, because that back and forth is seen as not only valuable, Siri thinks I'm talking to, not only valuable in your guys' relationship, it'll be seen as valuable in the social media algorithm as well. The more back and forths you have, the higher your content will rank on their newsfeed. So remember that with engagement also. So not only are you building trust with them and building a relationship and getting to know one another so they feel like you know them as a person and you're developing this relationship, you're strengthening the algorithm. So when you post, they are more likely to see it. So comments on their posts is very important. My rule of thumb with my team is at least 5 words and emojis don't count. So think about that. That's what I tell my team. If they have a story, the ring around their profile image, or if their profile image is at the top of your app and they have a ring around it, that's when they have a story, those things that disappear after 24 hours. You can watch that and send them some type of message or ask them a question or give them advice in their stories. That is the best way to engage because you're getting in their inbox. And later, if you're going to reach out to them at Plexus in the future, it's not going to be a straight cold message. You will have had some conversation in their inbox before. And inbox private messages are seen as more intimate conversations that hold even more weight in the algorithm. So think about it when you're talking with a bunch of Plexus people in the chats, then you go over to your newsfeed and you see a bunch of their posts of the people you were just talking to. Okay. It works with your potentials too. So it's also a great way to do this, a great reason to do this before you're going to make a Plexus post. Go engage with like 10 people and then make a Plexus post because they're probably more likely to see your content, right? So I'm not just aimlessly friending everyone and anybody that, has a heartbeat to see my Plexus content. I am specifically finding the people that will relate to me, the people who are present on social media, they're open to conversation, they're open to new friendships. Okay. I'm adding them and then I'm actively engaging with them. So I know they're more likely to see my content, right? So it's very strategic, but it's not, I don't know, it still has some heart behind it, right? Like I want to relate to the right people that can be helped by my message that I can add value to. And there's people that aren't going to see value in my content, but I want anybody that joins my team to be somebody that I would be friends with in real life. Because when we all go up the ranks together, as a lot of you know, we spend time together. We go on trips together. We, do things together in Plexus. So I want these to be people that are really good people to surround myself with and build a team with. So I always remember that with the people that I am engaging with online. And honestly, if somebody hasn't posted in 6 months and then I go, engage with them and there's nothing really to engage with, and then I wait a couple weeks and I go back and I'm like, okay, they're not really on social media, then I probably won't keep trying to engage with them, right? Like, what am I supposed to do? So I know that that's not somebody that will be, a business builder on my team someday. I mean, maybe they will, but that's probably not somebody that I'm going to try and chase, right? Also, if I go to their page and it's really like vulgar and negative, it's not my job in this business to go and try to like change people's social media attitudes. Maybe it is yours, but it's not my life's mission to do that. So those are not going to be people that are going to be top potentials for me either. Those are not going to be on my like hot potentials list. But the people I want to see are the people who fit my ideal customer. They're active on social media. They're posting really positive, wonderful, valuable things that I can engage with, and we can start a trust building relationship back and forth. And those become like my hot top 20 potentials. Each month I write a list of my hot 20 for the month. Now, these are people that I've never reached out to about Plexus before that maybe I've been engaging with, and I'm starting to realize, oh, this Sarah girl is really on social media a lot. She gets a lot of comments on her posts. People really find value in her content. It's clear that she's got a lot of influence. Like I kind of start to notice those people, right? I start developing this list throughout the month. And after I have engaged with these friends for, gosh, maybe a month or two, maybe more like 2 months now that I think about it. Those start to be the people that I'm going to reach out to about Plexus. Now, you'll notice that they're not people I've never talked to before. I try to get in their inbox if I can. If they post something about a family vacation they're going on or whatever, yes, I'll comment on their post, or I might DM them on the back end and say, I saw you guys just went to Hawaii. We're thinking about planning a family vacation there next year. May I ask where you stayed? Did you like it? What part of the island were you on, or whatever, right? Start to expand that conversation a little bit, because it kind of gives you an opportunity to see what sort of person they are, right? Like, how do they share? Are they open to it? Are they friendly? Are they somebody that you really want to do life with, right? Because when they join your Plexus team, the hope is that they'll be Plexus with you for life. So I really try to build close relationships with people. And then once I felt like I've done that, I create that hot 20 list at the beginning of each month, or like, on the 30th or 31st of the month before the month begins. And I reach out to people in one of three ways usually. First, it's to invite them to some kind of event that we're having. So it's directly plugging them into something. The second way is to offer a sample. And the third way is to respond to something specific that they posted about. Either they're posting about being a tired mom, or they have anxiety, or they're posting about their IBS, or are having trouble sleeping, or whatever it is, right? Maybe their kids are getting sick all the time. So it's usually one of those. I generally don't reach out to people simply asking if they would like to hear more about what I have to offer. That can work for people, but that can work for people who have a very hot network, where you already have a lot of relational equity with people. But if it's a brand new contact, I find it pretty difficult to have people just be open, a blanket opening, like, yeah, tell me what you can sell me. I think people have a hard time with that, but people are more likely to be open to getting plugged into something that's very hands-off, like an online event, or trying a free sample, or talking about a specific need that they have, like their sick child or their depression or their whatever, right? Whatever they're talking about on social media, because they've already shared it on public social media, right? It's already all over their newsfeed. So it's not odd for someone to message them about it, right? I just messaged somebody the other day about their migraines, and they were like, yeah, I've actually been seeing what you're posting about, and I've been reading about gut health. And so we're talking right now. And I asked her, I said, have you heard about this? Have you tried Plexus? Is it something you've ever looked at? Because gut health can really affect migraine sufferers, and it can be really helpful. And I have personal friends who have, dealt with that. And she's like, actually, yeah, I've been looking that up. And so we're chatting. So it's usually one of those three things: an event, a sample, or a specific need that they've been talking about. Or maybe they are just talking about for days on end how exhausted of a mom they are, or something. It's something like an ongoing theme in their content. So if you have a ripe for the taking hot market and you're brand new, the people that you are closest with will probably be open to what you have to say, because you've spent a long time pouring into that relationship. If you find that people are maybe a little more closed off, that like, oh no, I'm not interested. Like they treat you like a used car salesman. It's probably because you haven't deposited into that relationship bank enough. And I find that something like a free sample is making a big deposit into that relationship bank, right? You're showing that you're willing to invest in them, that you believe in this product enough to give it away for free to somebody to really just help them. And when you can identify a specific need that they relate to, they know that you've been listening. They know that you've been noticing. They know you've been seeing their content. And our team does a lot of birthday sampling. So we send out messages for people's birthdays and just wish them a happy birthday in a private message and say, no pressure. I want to celebrate you. Would you be open to trying me sending you a sample of Plexus, like our Plexus pink drink for your birthday? No big deal. I should read the message for you, but I'm like, it's no pressure. I just love sharing it because it's something I love and I thought you might love it too. That kind of thing. We do a lot of birthday sampling. on our team, and it seems to work well because, first of all, people are always in a great mood on the birthday. I know some people might not be, I shouldn't say everybody, but most people are happy on their birthday. And they're fielding a lot of happy birthday messages, and they're open to taking a gift, right? That's kind of a normal thing for a birthday, is celebratory message, taking a free gift. That's great. Even if they're completely uninterested in Plexus whatsoever, I find that even later down the road, when they start watching your content because you got in their inbox and now the algorithm is in your favor, right? You've had a back and forth with them. Not only is the algorithm strengthened, they're going to see more of your content, but you invested in them and you got on their kitchen counter, you got in their house, right? You sent them something, you took time out of your day to send that, you spent money on that, and that is seen as an investment in them. And so later on down the line, once they've been seeing all your content and they're ready for it, they're going to remember that you were the one that sent them the free sample. A year later, 6 months later, could be 2 years later, whatever it is, right? You are the first person that invested in them. So even if they see you posting over here and Susie Q posting over here and Jennifer posting over here, you're the one that sent them a free sample. So they're going to come to you because you're the first person that invested in them. So even though, birthday samples can sometimes feel a little bit cold because the birthday list on Facebook is random. It's not like people you've been engaging with specifically. It's anybody in your friends list. I use that a lot as a first contact because it's a really positive way to message somebody that is really in the spirit of service and giving. You're not looking really for anything out of it. You're just like, no pressure. I just love sharing this and you might love it. Can I send you a free sample to celebrate you on your birthday? So I'm all for sampling and I'm all for birthday samples. If you feel like something that's what you want to do, try it out because it's very simple to implement. You can set a reminder on your phone like I do to do it every single day. Facebook has a pre-made list for you to just go down the list and click the names and send the message to everybody. So yeah, I've been meeting people, adding friends, engaging with them, hopefully getting in their inbox, and then inviting them to things. Our teams have 3-day trials, online events, whatever. Our team's having a sampling blitz event where I'm asking everybody to send out samples this week. And next week, we're going to do like a 1-day online event. It's just going to be all day long. And we'll have a little giveaway for people to do a pink drink selfie, trying their sample. So those are fun things you can do to just plug people in. People love samples. People love free stuff. And again, it just shows that you're going to invest in them, right? But once they are interested in Plexus, genuinely interested, I have a typical conversation with a potential, I don't know, Jody, if you want me to go through that, like a typical potential conversation, or I don't know.
If you want to quickly.
Okay. I'll try to go fast.
That's fine. Because I love this. It's like, this is what I do. It's so helpful, especially if people are starting out. But even for us, it's like, oh yeah, this is what I should do. And I should set reminders. Like I should set reminders.
I have so many phone reminders, you guys. It's like obnoxious up in there, but they're going off all day long and they're reminding me of necessary things. And so some things I do in a potential conversation that may be a good reminder or something you might not be doing. I ask a lot of questions that are pointed to their specific needs. So not only am I like, what are the health issues you want to target or areas of your health that you want to target? I ask about medications. I ask about their typical daily schedule. I'm asking about how many hours of sleep they typically get a night. What's your stress level like? How long have you dealt with this problem? Have you ever taken medication for this in the past? All kinds of stuff like that. What's your typical diet like? Those are really helpful to know what products might help them, but also lets them feel heard. Even if they come to you and say, I want weight loss, and you're already thinking, okay, weight loss advanced, pump the brakes for a second. Ask all these other questions first, because they're going to feel like you really got to know them before you just threw product information on them. So I definitely have a much higher commitment rate when I'm talking to potentials. I don't have a ton of people kind of like not responding or waiting in the wings. I usually get them to commit because I spend time really getting to know them. And if they're not ready, I ask why. If they're not responding, I'll say, you were really interested. I noticed you haven't responded. Maybe it's not the right time for you right now. If you don't mind, can you let me know a better time to follow up with you? Or can I circle back at the end of next week? Would that work better? Or, just asking questions like that so I know what's going on in their life, and not just saying, hey, are you ready? Hey, can I help you sign up? Hey, let's get going. Like, I don't do that a lot. I usually a no response is a response. You know what I mean? So I'll really open the door for them to tell me what's going on, because there's usually something happening in their life, and I'll like line up another time. So I usually don't have a lot of the like ghosted messages to me, which is helpful. And it's helpful to let my team know that if someone's doing that, something's happening in their life, and let's slow down a minute and get more on that friend relationship level and ask what's going on, because clearly something's up. And then again, they feel heard, they feel seen, they feel like they can open up a little bit more to you, and they can be honest with you. And you know how to, schedule that follow-up later, and you're not just stringing them along, right? Okay, so go through normal potential conversation, sign up process. Let's just say they sign up, right? We ask every single person who enrolls who they know that can do this with them and help them keep it consistent and stay accountable. We say, I am your coach virtually, but who is close to you, who lives with you, works with you, is in your neighborhood, is in your family, that can really help keep you accountable and be your buddy in this. And yes, we do kind of mention like, if one person enrolls, you'll get like a fun, over $30 in cash kickback from it, which is great. And if you have 3 people sign up, like you join me, you're going to earn, well, this month, like $400. So it's very casual. I will say it's not a high pressure situation. I'm just like, I'm here virtually for you, and I'm going to do my best in contacting you and connecting with you every couple of days. But if there's someone in your close circle, like a sister, a husband, your babysitter, your coworker, your neighbor that you're going to see all the time, that you think you would want to do this with you and you can keep each other accountable, who might that be for you? So the language is very casual. It's not very high stress or anything, not very pushy. And if they're like, no, I can't really think of anybody right now, totally fine. Give them outstanding customer care. I think that is something our team does really, really well, is we connect with our new ambassadors at least once every 2 or 3 days throughout their first month. I find that if somebody falls off track and we let them skip 3 days of something, it's really hard to get them back on track. A weekend, people can kind of start on Monday, or if they skip one night, you can get them on the next night, taking their Probio 5 or whatever, right? But like half a week goes by, it's really hard to get them jump started again. So our goal is to be proactive instead of reactive, and foresee any issues that are as they might be arising before they become a problem. Like they're not fitting in their slim, or they keep forgetting their BioCleanse at home, or whatever, right? You guys know the issues that you hear from people. I try to get ahead of that and give them tips for troubleshooting, and it shows them that we are willing to work with them, to coach them, to tweak things, troubleshoot, and not make them feel bad for missing things or whatever. Just ask them, can I give you some tips to help fit that in? Or do you think this might work better? Or do you think you can try this tomorrow? Right? It shows that flexibility and that willingness to, to coach them and stuff. And that's part of your customer care, is speaking to them often in their first month. I go every 3 to 5 days in their second month, and kind of spread out depending on how comfortable they are with their products. By now, around the 60-day mark is when, if they've been consistent, you've kept them consistent, you probably know a lot about their life by now, because you've been talking to them a lot, right? I find this is really like the sweet spot when people start seeing really good results. Like in the beginning, they're like, oh, I'm finally sleeping better, or I'm not craving as much sugar, and I'm like having more energy. But in like that 45 to 60 day mark is like where the magic happens. I find that that's when people are like, this is awesome, I can't skip a day. Like they're really in the rhythm of it. That is when I revisit the sharing portion of it. It's at the end of their second month. And I usually ask, you've been loving your products for a couple months now, or, 6 weeks now. What are your thoughts on I'll use whatever message I feel like using in the time. Me helping you create a post about that with the great results you just told me, so that you might be able to help some of your friends who might want to do this with you. Or B, having an online info event for you to invite some friends and family to, who might want to start this with you. And at the end of that, I might insert a little bit about, you can earn $300 or whatever. If they're out of the fast start window, obviously, adjust that. But I revisit that once they're having great results. Because in the beginning, people are hesitant to share something they know nothing about, right? Some people will be like, yeah, sure, whatever. I want to do this. It's great. And I've had people like that. But a lot of people, I argue to say most people are going to say, I'm not sure, unless they have like a specific person like their husband or their mom or someone really close to them that they know is struggling with a specific issue that Plexus can help. They usually need a little bit of time. And on our team, we have quite a few success stories, several that I'm thinking of right now, actually, of people who I maybe asked that in the second month and they were like, oh, sure, I don't know. And they posted a couple times and kind of fizzled or whatever. I'll ask again around like 4 or 5 months, like a couple months goes by and I'm like, you are having such great results. I know I talked about it before and maybe it wasn't right time, but do you think we could have a little online info event next week for you to invite some friends and family to? Because I know you're loving these products. I'd love for you to at least get them for free or, make some more money or whatever. And I have people now who are senior silver and gold on my team, who were those people who I revisited and revisited. So don't give up on people just because they say no the first time. Don't do that. But also don't, well, I'm not gonna say never do this, but be hesitant to throw out words like silver and fast start and business and opportunity. Because when people are coming to you for like help with their IBS, the last thing they want is for you to pitch them on a business, right? Like they're like, I'm suffering over here. Like, can you care about me first? And so the way our messaging kind of is more reflective of us wanting them to have support, them have a team of support around them to help them be successful on their health journey, and less about the business opportunity. Unless they specifically ask you about the business, then go for it, I guess. But we love online events. And also sampling. Like I'm all about when people say, sure, I mean, everybody that joins now gets 3 free samples through the Plexus Engage app. So we share those. And if they're out of those, if they're like in their first month or two, I'll send some samples on their behalf. But I love like the 1 hour Plexus online events for new people. It's so great. And I just have them invite, 25, 30 people. And I find that if you invite 30 people to an event, you're probably going to get maybe a dozen of them to show up. And then out of the dozen, you're probably going to get 2 or 3 interested. And we try to lock those in and get them as close to silver as possible. So that's kind of my rule of thumb there. Let's see what else. But the trick is asking every single person that signs up about hosting an online event, sharing samples, or who they know who can help them stay consistent. And if they're like not feeling it, I give them the best customer care possible because I want them to have great results. I want them to be on Plexus for life, and I want them to share with their friends, right? And nobody's going to share if they're not seeing results. So I just don't make it weird or businessy, but I continue to present that, not in an annoying way. I mean, like I said to you, it's like once every couple of months, right? And if they've like told me no, like 3 times, I'm like, okay, clearly they're never going to do this, right? But I just feel like when people know that you care about them and have spent all this time helping them see results, they're like, oh yeah, this can be done in a really kind, caring way where people care about another's wellness and it's not salesy and sleazy, right? And that's kind of what we go for. And once they have, this online event and they've got 4 or 6 people on their team, I had 2 girls just this past year. This kind of same thing, they about 6 months into it, they finally were like, oh, sure. 2 different girls, and they both had online events, and one of them signed up 9 people and the other girl signed up 7 people. So like on one online event in one night. And so you just don't know who those people are going to be. So ask everybody and make it very low pressure and just give them the absolute best customer care. And once they have that online event and they see that, oh my goodness, all these people really want what I have. Not only does the online event educate them, by the way, with all the product post, but it shows them that they have something that's desirable and other people are truly interested in it. And then you can kind of guide them into posting regularly and say, hey, we should post, your story on your Facebook. And what do you think about me helping you do that? And that kind of thing. So that's kind of how we go from there. And it's really helping us create silvers on our team and senior silvers. And we have another couple of people who might be going gold this month, which is really fun. So yay. I don't know what do you want me to touch on anything else specifically, Jody, or go beyond that at all?
It's so good. It's so helpful to hear just someone else in their process step by step. And it's so simple and doable, right? Like we can do this. And I loved hearing your verbiage, just like your checkpoints for yourself, and that is very helpful. And I love that you continue to revisit it. And we always tell people so often it's not a no, it's just a not yet. And that's when with people joining us, and also if they want to share with their friends and family too. I don't know if you got a chance to watch Kyle's Emerald Extravaganza video.
I haven't yet. It's like saved.
So today, I know some people watched it, but his verbiage that he's been starting to use is, who are 3 people in your life that you want to do this with? And he said, chances are you're going to give up on yourself way quicker. But if you have people doing this with you, you're going to want to stick with them. Like you're going to stick it out for them. And it just helps you not to give up on yourself when you have other people. And I was like, that's so true.
So true. Yeah.
So even just to add to that, because it's so good. But if anyone has questions for Allie, now is your chance to ask her.
Oh, okay. Stephanie says, I hear things about your spreadsheets. Can you tell us what you track in spreadsheets? Okay. Daily, I track my points, PV, and team ads. I know them every single day. So I can actually look back at my growth. Like I can go back 2 years from now and be like, in September of 2019, where were my points? Which becomes more and more helpful the larger your team grows, because as you're seeing maybe now is there are some rises and falls, there's some seasons to this business. But it's nice to know kind of what you're on track for. And the larger your team is, the bigger those waves up and down can become, depending on the season, because when everybody goes on summer break and turns off their subscriptions in June, it feels like, this guy is falling. And you're like, wait, this happens every year. You're like, wait a minute. And then, in October, when it happens again, when everybody's thinking about the holidays and all the money I have to spend on the holidays, you're like, oh my gosh. And you're like, wait, it's okay. October, November, this happens every year, and they all come back at the end of the year. So I track, points, PV, team ads. And then most of our spreadsheeting really is for point projections. So those things are what I track, but point projections wise, it's just nice to be able to see what your projected points can look like at the end of the month, and always take into account attrition. Like I always say 10 to 15% of the people who have their subs on are either going to have a credit card decline, or they're going to bump their sub to next month, or turn it off for some reason, or edit it lower than 100 PV or whatever. So we use it for point projections a lot. I also look at who on my team is enrolling to see who's close to either the 369 enrollment tiers, or who might be close to a rank advancement. So I like one of the girls this month, she's a level 2 of mine, but I was looking at my team and I saw she was projected to end at 92 points this month. And I'm like, does this girl know she's 2 orders away from gold? I'm like, I need to connect with this girl, because she's not my level 1. So I wanted to make sure that I connected with her. So, hopefully that's helpful, but I would say points, PV, and team ads are things that I track, and I know who is adding, and who's kind of close to things, whether it be an enrollment goal or a rank advancement, to kind of give a projection of, anybody that's about senior silver or gold and up. I usually like to know if they're going to be close to a rank advancement, because especially those people who maybe are just learning how to build a business, like they went silver and they're like, great, but they don't really know what it means to go senior silver, or they don't understand what it means to go gold, or it's not even on their radar. It's helpful to see who those people are. And you can go back last month and look at who might have, points in that range, 30 to 25% away from their goal, and kind of connect with those people or connect with their sponsors. That's really great. But you'll find the larger your team grows, you'll find the random one-off people where Susie Q joins over here and turns out she added her mom and her sister and nobody's really guiding her, but she's one away from silver. It totally happens. Okay. How do I, so connect with those people is what I'm saying. How do you find Facebook and Instagram groups to join? Okay. So no groups on Instagram. Instagram's a little bit different than Facebook. You can find people through hashtags. It's a little bit different of a process, but you can find really specific hashtags. Like I'm like one of the hashtags I like to use is Central Oregon Mom, because I live in Central Oregon, pretty geographically specific. And moms, find those hashtags and see who is posting using those hashtags, and then start engaging with those people on their content and follow them. A lot of them will follow back, but it's almost reverse. Like you go engage with them on like maybe 2 of their posts, and then like respond through their stories with something and follow them, and they'll usually follow you back. That's kind of a process there, and then continue to engage, same thing there. But on Facebook, I just search for whatever my hobbies are. I mean, you can literally find anything ever. I mean, there's like a Facebook group for flat earthers on Facebook. There's everything, literally everything. If you're like, I knit llama sweaters, like there's probably people for that. I don't know. I made that one up, but
I just joined a group this week that's like my neighborhood. There's like 3 neighborhoods specific where people just give stuff away like for free.
Oh yes, we
So
have
their
one of those
whole
too.
mindset is like gifting things. And so that was one I joined this week. And these people live near me. So
yeah. And a lot of times if you're giving something or receiving something or helping pass something along, like you can friend those people, right? But my groups are, I'm in a traveling with kids group. I am in a boy moms group. I'm in a mom of 2 kids group. It's called Twice as Nice. And they're all like little, like younger kids. And I'm in like moms groups for my geographic location. I'm in some cooking groups because I love cooking. I actually 2 years ago for Christmas, I got a Ninja Foodie. If you know what that is, it's like, it does all the things like an air fryer, pressure cooker, all the things in one unit. There's a Ninja Foodie cooking group that I joined. So I go in there and I'm like, what's your favorite like ribs recipe in your Ninja Foodie? And like all these people are talking about it, right? And of course there's like some like middle-aged men in there that are posting their rib recipe, and I'm not friending those people. So that's where you kind of like filter through. But yeah, your hobbies, your neighborhood, your pets, your alumni groups, whatever. I just join them, and some of them I've left. Some of them I don't like. I'm like, no. I'm in due date groups for both of my kids. I mean, my kids are little, they're 3 and 6. And I joined Plexus 6 years ago when my oldest was an infant. So I joined these groups, and so all of our kids are the same age. They're all growing up together. And that was fun for a while. And now I'm like, I don't really need these groups anymore. Like I'm not conversing about all my like elementary school child problems. Like when you have a baby, you're like talking about it a lot, but I'm like, I'm kind of done here. And it's not very helpful, but yeah, I love those groups, man. That I know there's a lot of pressure to be wonderful on Instagram right now. And if that's you, you do you. I am not an Instagram whiz, and Facebook is my bread and butter, and it has not stopped producing new team members for me. So I'm not going to give up on it. If anything, I'm going to press in a little bit harder. And I've gotten much better at knowing who my people are and sharing content for those people, because I know that for me, young moms are exhausted. A lot of them have anxiety and depression. A lot of them are trying to lose weight. And a lot of them have like autoimmune diseases and stuff, because a lot of them are spurred on by pregnancy and new motherhood and all of that. And so I kind of stay in my wheelhouse with the testimonies I share, the type of content I'm producing. Again, I'm not posting like CrossFitting testimonies because like that's a tiny portion of my network. But if you're like really into CrossFit, then do that. But like, I'm not a runner, I'm not a marathon runner, right? So I don't post stuff like that. I'm also not like, I'm not an adoption parent. So that's not something I share about because I can't relate to that journey. And so it's not something I'll commonly talk about. So just kind of find the groups that really kind of connect with who you are. And your kids' interests too. I joined a kids like Lego building group. So like I'm in there. So that's been fun too. But thanks for being on, Stephanie. She said she's in bed. Yeah, so hopefully that's helpful for finding groups. It's kind of whatever you're interested in. You don't want them like gigantic. If it's like 50,000 people, I would not join that. But if it's maybe, I don't know, 3 to 10,000, that's probably fine. 10 might be a lot. 3 to 6 or 7,000, that's probably good. Some of the groups are not moderated well, so they are just a busy, chaos filled, like complain fest. But you'll notice that once you get in. And I'm like, no. But yeah, my best groups are the ones that have maybe 3,000 to 5,000 people in them. It's close enough to where the same people are really in there giving each other advice and asking questions. You start to see familiar names kind of pop up and answering stuff. So I'd recommend those for sure. And be in there often, like weekly. Maybe just start with one group, and just every once a week you're in there asking a question or replying to everybody, and you're in there contributing. And read the rules. If they say, you can't friend request other members, maybe don't do that one. Most of them say you can't message people without permission. Not a lot of them say you can't friend request people, because people can choose if they want to accept or not. So anything else?
That's so helpful. It's also helpful to hear you say that Facebook is still like your primary, because there's such a push to do Instagram, and that's okay. Like if that is your thing, and I'm still trying to figure out both, and I'm not thriving at the Instagram portion yet. Although I did find my silver sisters, because
that's
girl's
awesome.
got her crown going, and so I'm finding my people there in that specific area, which is really funny. Not what I was expecting, but it's helpful to hear you say that, because I think that can free some people up to know that. So thanks.
Yeah, and I feel like there was some pressure recently. Maybe it was just me feeling it, but like Facebook is for like the old timers, and Instagram is like the young and hip, and then it's like moving on to TikTok and like all this stuff. And I'm like, but I don't want to be, I'm not a teenager. Like, I'm not a college kid. I'm not a teenager. Like, why am I trying to be that? Because none of my people are there. Like, what my people relate to is like my demographic, right? Like, they're not going to relate to content if I'm trying to be this like young 20 something or teen, whatever, doing like silly TikToks that are not my, forte at all. Like, I love the people that can do them, but like, that's not my vibe, and it would be really inauthentic. And, I just don't want to try to be something that I'm not. I want to try to add value where I'm at. And I think that's the most important, is don't feel like what you're doing is good enough or where you are is good enough. Show up as you are. Like, people love that. I would argue to say people love real life more than they love perfectly filtered and rehearsed things, and people want to see your messy house. They want to know what like your dirty kitchen looks like. Like, they kind of want to see that. You know what I mean? Like, so don't make it so perfect all the time. And it's okay to not be this like little pop star person, because I'm not at all. And I mean, that doesn't say like show up like a hot mess all the time, because then, you cut back at your credibility if you're showing up like a straight up hot mess constantly. Edit yourself a little bit. So I would like advise against that, but yeah, I try not to put too much pressure on myself. I would actually give you the advice of just being consistent is more important than trying to be perfectly edited all the time, because most people are not posting consistently on social media. So just straight up having content every day, you're already leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. Mm-hmm. So if you're feeling like you have a block, or you don't know what to post, or you don't know how to show up, or your post isn't good enough or whatever, the fact that you're posting anything, you're already ahead of the game. You're already going to get more visibility than the people who aren't posting, because most people aren't. Most people are observers. Right. So just remember that.
It's so true. So yeah. I have to give a shout out to Karen, because she posts pictures of like her walk with her dogs almost every day. And I so look forward to whatever view it is, because it's gorgeous. I'm like, I don't care if she posts that 5 times a day. Like, I want to be there.
Right. And some people who like love that, and maybe they have a similar dog, or they, live in that area, like they relate to that photo and they're like, this is awesome. Right. So Becca on our team, I don't know if she still does this, but she used to do, a morning and an evening post in her stories every day. She would do a glass of water in the morning and be like, stay hydrated, my morning glass of water. And her evening post would be her nighttime supplements. And she did it every single day. And maybe she skipped some days here and there now, but I remember being like, I know what point it is in Becca's day, because like, I know when her beginning and her end of day is. And it was so easy to follow her posts and stuff. Like it was just like a day in the life every day. And it became, I mean, even though I know her personally and she comes over to my house, but like, it was fun to follow because it wasn't sporadic. It was consistent. It was every day. I knew like, this is a day in the life, and it's fascinating to see what people do every day. You know, people love ordinary people, because we all want to know that like, we're not the weird one. I think that's what, like, we want to know other people are just like we are. So that's why it's so great to just like keep posting. If it's a walk with your dog, or if it's your glass in the morning, or whatever it is, I don't know. I just like posting ordinary stuff and don't try to be extra special. I mean, everybody's extra special, but don't stress too much about it, because it's not a big deal.
I love that. So good. Well, I feel like we got so much more than what I anticipated tonight. And
oh, yay.
I told you 20 minutes and you just gave us so much of your time and so much goodness. And so I'm so thankful for that tonight. And I know that our team is too. We so appreciate you. And I know I've been doing this as long as you have, but I'm like, oh, I'm going to go implement that.
Yeah.
I need some of that in my life. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, cannot say thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome.
That is all we have for tonight, you guys. It was so much goodness. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys next month.
Bye, guys.
Super fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.